The air crackles with anticipation, a palpable tension that seems to hang over the ancient city like a shroud. Jesus, perched atop the Mount of Olives, gazes out at the majestic temple in Jerusalem. The golden light of the setting sun casts long shadows, adding a sense of gravity to the moment. His disciples gather close, eager to hear his words. They sense that what he's about to say will be of great importance, something that will echo through the corridors of time. He speaks of a time of great turmoil, a time of tribulation unlike any other. The skies seem to darken as he describes the events that will unfold. A storm brewing both in the heavens and in the hearts of men. His prophecy, recorded in Matthew 24, verses 15 to 22, sends a shiver down their spines. The words are heavy with meaning, each verse a portent of the trials to come. It speaks of an event so cataclysmic, so profoundly disturbing, that it's known as the abomination of desolation. This term alone conjures images of desolation and despair, a world turned upside down. This prophecy, steeped in symbolism and foreboding, has resonated through the ages, a stark warning of the trials and judgments to come. It is a message that has been passed down through generations, a reminder of the fragility of human existence. This passage is not merely a historical curiosity, it is a living, breathing testament to the enduring power of prophecy and the eternal struggle between light and darkness. It is a vibrant tapestry woven with threads of warning, urgency, and ultimately hope. Each thread tells a story, each knot a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. It speaks of a time when darkness will seem to prevail, when the very foundations of faith will be tested. The imagery is stark and unsettling, a vision of a world teetering on the brink of chaos. Yet within this bleak landscape, a glimmer of hope shines through. It is a small flickering light, but it is enough to pierce the darkness and offer a promise of redemption. It is the promise of Jesus' return, a beacon of light piercing the encroaching darkness. This promise is a source of comfort and strength, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope. The disciples, though shaken by the prophecy, find solace in this promise. They understand that the trials they will face are but a prelude to a greater glory. This message of hope and redemption has continued to inspire countless generations, a testament to the enduring power of faith and the human spirit. As we reflect on these words today, we are reminded of the light that can emerge from even the darkest of times. It is a call to remain steadfast, to hold on to hope, and to believe in the promise of a brighter future. For in the end, it is this hope that sustains us, guiding us through the trials and tribulations of life and leading us towards the dawn of a new day. What exactly is the abomination of desolation? This term, steeped in ancient prophecy and religious significance, has intrigued scholars and believers alike for centuries. It is a phrase that conjures images of profound desecration and spiritual defilement, a concept that has echoed through the annals of history and theology. The phrase itself evokes a sense of revulsion, a profound violation of all that is sacred. It is not merely a physical destruction, but a spiritual and symbolic act that strikes at the very core of faith and devotion. The abomination of desolation is a term that carries with it the weight of divine judgment and the foreboding of apocalyptic events. It speaks of a desecration so profound, so abhorrent, that it defiles and lays waste to the very heart of God's dwelling place. This act of sacrilege is seen as an ultimate affront to the divine, a blasphemous act that brings about desolation and ruin. The imagery associated with this term is often dark and foreboding, reflecting the gravity of the offense. This abomination, shrouded in mystery, has been the subject of much debate and interpretation. Scholars have pored over ancient texts, seeking to understand the true meaning and implications of this prophecy. The interpretations vary, with some seeing it as a historical event, while others view it as a future occurrence that has yet to unfold.
Some scholars believe it refers to the desecration of the Jewish temple in 167 BC by Antiochus IV Epiphanes. This event is seen as a historical fulfillment of the prophecy, a moment when the sacred was defiled in a manner that shocked and outraged the faithful. This Syrian king, driven by a desire to eradicate Judaism, erected a statue of Zeus in the temple's Holy of Holies and offered sacrifices of pigs on the altar. This act was not only a political move, but a deeply symbolic one intended to undermine the Jewish faith and assert the dominance of Hellenistic culture. This act of sacrilege, a blatant affront to the God of Israel, sent shockwaves through the Jewish community. It was a moment of profound crisis, a time when the very foundations of their faith were shaken. The response was one of outrage and resistance, a determination to reclaim and purify their sacred space. Others see the abomination as a future event, a signpost pointing to the end times. In this interpretation, the prophecy is not merely a reflection of past events, but a warning of what is to come. It is a vision of a future desecration that will herald the final days and the ultimate confrontation between good and evil. In this context, the abomination is often associated with the Antichrist, a figure of immense evil who will rise to power and demand worship as God. This figure is seen as the embodiment of all that is opposed to the divine, a being whose very presence in the holy place is a desecration. His presence in the rebuilt Jewish temple, proclaiming himself as deity, would be the ultimate act of desecration, a fulfillment of the prophecy in its most terrifying form. This event is seen as a pivotal moment in the unfolding of the end times, a sign that the final days are upon us, and that the ultimate battle between good and evil is about to commence.
Jesus' words in Matthew 24, verses 15 to 22 are imbued with a sense of urgency. He warns his followers to be vigilant, to be prepared for the sudden appearance of the abomination.
When you see the abomination of desolation standing in the holy place, he says, then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains.
This is not a time for leisurely packing or prolonged goodbyes. It is a time for immediate action, for swift and decisive flight. The stakes are incredibly high. For those who hesitate, who linger too long in the danger zone, will face unimaginable suffering. Jesus' words are a stark reminder that time is of the essence, that preparation and vigilance are paramount in the face of impending tribulation. Section 4. Echoes in history, the abomination's partial manifestations. The abomination of desolation, while pointing to a future fulfillment, has already cast a long shadow over history.
Antiochus IV's desecration of the temple in 167 BC stands as a chilling example of the prophecy's partial fulfillment. His actions sparked a rebellion, led by the Maccabees, which ultimately liberated the temple and restored Jewish worship.
Another significant event, often linked to the abomination, is the destruction of the Second Temple by the Romans in 70 AD. This cataclysmic event, a defining moment in Jewish history, saw the temple razed to the ground, its treasures plundered, and its people scattered. While not a direct fulfillment of the prophecy in Matthew 24, it serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of earthly structures and the devastating consequences of rebellion against God.
The abomination of desolation in this context takes on a cosmic significance, signaling the arrival of the Antichrist. This event is not just a mere historical or religious footnote. It is a pivotal moment that will alter the course of human history. The Antichrist's emergence is a harbinger of the end times, a period fraught with chaos and suffering. The Antichrist, a master of deception and manipulation, will initially present himself as a man of peace. He will be a charismatic leader, capable of uniting nations and bringing about a semblance of global harmony. His promises of peace and prosperity will be so convincing that many will be deceived into following him. He will be seen shaking hands with world leaders, making grand speeches, and receiving adulation from the masses. However, his true nature will soon be revealed. He will consolidate power, crush all opposition, and demand worship as God. His presence in the rebuilt Jewish temple, proclaiming himself as deity, will be the ultimate act of desecration. This act will not only be a blasphemous affront to the divine, but also a clear signal of his malevolent intentions. The temple, a sacred place of worship, will be defiled by his presence, marking the fulfillment of the abomination in its most terrifying and blasphemous form. The fulfillment of the abomination in its most terrifying and blasphemous form. This period will be marked by unprecedented upheaval and tribulation. Natural disasters will become more frequent and severe. Wars and conflicts will escalate, and societal structures will begin to crumble. People will be in distress, struggling to survive in urban ruins and desolate landscapes. The dark, stormy weather over desolate cityscapes will serve as a grim reminder of the biblical prophecies coming to pass. While the abomination has echoed through history, its ultimate fulfillment awaits us in the end times. This period, marked by unprecedented upheaval and tribulation, will culminate in the return of Jesus Christ. His return will be a moment of unparalleled significance, bringing an end to the reign of the Antichrist and the suffering of humanity. The establishment of his eternal kingdom will usher in an era of peace, justice, and divine harmony. The glorious sunrise over a serene landscape will symbolize the dawn of a new era, a time when the world will be restored to its intended glory. The depiction of Jesus Christ returning from the heavens will be a powerful reminder of the hope and salvation that awaits those who remain faithful. The peaceful kingdom scenery with historical architecture will serve as a testament to the enduring legacy of divine providence and the ultimate triumph of good over evil.